What's going on, guys? Today I want to show you how to list a product on Amazon without any hiccups, without any errors, going through every step, how to do it with variations, how to set it up so you don't make mistakes later on or have to fix things. How does it work with brand names? Do you need brand approval, brand registry? Do you need to list it as generic? I'm going to walk you through on screen the whole step, the whole process, going through every field, what you need to worry about, everything like that. That way you can just follow along while you list your product. That way you don't have any errors or have issues in the future or have to deal with Amazon seller support, because that is just a pain and can waste weeks and weeks of your time. So before I hop on there on screen, show you exactly how to do this step by step, I just want to introduce myself to anybody who doesn't know me. My name's Cameron James. I've been selling on Amazon over 5 years now, have multiple years of 7-figure selling on Amazon, helped many brands get on Amazon themselves, and I make other videos on Amazon FBA. That way you don't make any mistakes, make the mistakes I did that cost me a lot of time and a lot of money. So if you want to stay up to date on everything Amazon FBA related, e-commerce related, business, all that good stuff, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Otherwise, guys, let's hop my screen. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. Okay, guys, so when you log into Amazon Seller Central, this is exactly what it looks like. So we're going to start right here. So this is the home page. If we go right over here, click this little guy, hit catalog, add products. This is where we're going to go. This does look a little different depending on, what your account setup looks like. But again, just go under catalog, whether you see that right here or right up here, and then add product. Okay, going down here, we see to begin adding products. So find your product in Amazon's catalog. So we actually won't do this because if we're doing private label, if we want to brand ourselves, then we want to create our own product, right? So this would be, I'm adding a product not sold on Amazon. But if you're selling books or wholesale or retail arbitrage, you're probably going to want to go right here and go ahead and list under a product listing that already exists. So that'll be right here. But for most cases, if you're doing private label, your own brand, want to have your own listing, actually, make good margins, everything like that, you're going to go ahead right here and say, I'm adding a product not sold on Amazon. And this is probably the most in-depth tutorial anyways, right? If you're listing under another listing that already exists, you're not putting a lot of info in. We're starting a brand new listing from scratch. So this is going to be the most comprehensive view of starting your own listing. Okay. So first we're going to go ahead and select our category. We see there's tons of categories here, but we're going to try to find the best one for our product that describes it, right? If we pick something that's not anything like our product, Amazon eventually will move us anyways, so might as well be as specific as possible here. For this one, this example, I'm going to do home and kitchen, and I'm going to do bedding, and I'm going to do bed skirts. Okay, so we're going to do a king size bed skirt here. So we see here, we go to this page right here, and this is where it gets interesting. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to walk you through all these tabs here. I'm going to walk you through all these things right here, what we need to fill out. If I skip anything, it's probably because it's not important, but everything that is important, I'm going to cover here. That way, you know exactly what to worry about, everything like that. Okay, so first of all, we're at product identity here. So this is going to be your main thing, and you cannot move on until you fill this out. Okay, so first of all, it's asking if we have any variations. Okay, so does the product have variations? So what does that mean? That means, if it's a t-shirt, is there a large, medium, small size, or is it blue, red, green, whatever it may be right here, right? So this is when you have multiple listings on one product page. That way you can, the consumer can go ahead and buy any of those products on that same page. Okay, so even if you don't have a variation yet, the idea here is to put yes anyways. That way we set ourselves up for success later. If we want to add variations, this will help us add them later. Okay, so it doesn't mean we'll have to have multiple variations right away, but it does set us up to make sure that we can do this later. So for this, I'm going to put color right here. So we're going to do color for this variation. We could do size, we could do color, just try to fit what's best. Like when you're thinking of expansion for this product line, is it colors, is it size? And depending on your category that we just selected, so we picked bed skirts, this will tell us, what's available here. And Amazon will have a preset, is it material, color, size, it could be a pack size, it could be item name, all this good stuff right here. Okay, so we're gonna do color for this example right here. And then item name. So this is like your title. Again, you could change your title later, but I try to put something in here that kind of fits right away. So for title, this will be, we're doing a blue king size bed skirt. Okay, so this will be blue king sized bed skirting. Okay. And then again, we can always change this later, and we'll definitely want to add more keywords later as we go. But again, I'm just showing you how I set it up. I try to get the best 5 keywords right away. And then later I'm going to go ahead and add more keywords that fit into SEO and fit into like what customers are searching, everything like that. Right. So brand name. So for brand name, I'm doing the unique Jimmy. Okay. So this is just a fun name. I had to make something up, right? Obviously you're going to probably pick something better than mine and everything like that. But for this example, I'm using the unique Jimmy. Okay. So we see this cleared up now, and then we have to hit continue here before this goes here. But first I want to cover this guy right here. So this product does not have a brand name. So if you're listing generically, you don't want a brand name, you don't have to worry about brand approval or brand registry or getting a trademark, which I'm going to explain all the differences there as we go along when it makes sense and kind of when you have to worry about that. But if you just want to list generically, this is where you do this. So if you click this, it's going to go ahead and pre-fill generic, and you cannot change this. What I recommend here, if you do this, just understand that you can't change this later on. Okay. You cannot change this later on. And if you try to change it, it's a huge mess. It's a huge hassle and everything like that. Okay. So even if you can change it, otherwise Amazon is not going to let you do that. And so, they're going to make you split up your listings. You're going to lose your reviews, your rankings, and everything like that. So again, if you want a brand name, make sure you get that in there right away. Okay. So I put the unique Jimmy back there because we want to set it up the correct way here. Okay. So I hit continue here, and now all these little guys, these little red bubbles popped up here, telling me that I need to fill out information here. So Amazon does a good job of whatever's in red, they want that information. And this varies from product category to product category. So if this doesn't match exactly, well, it's because it's not supposed to match category to category, right? Because everything's different, right? Everything has, depending if you're selling batteries, whatever it may be. Okay. So this is all going to look a little different, but the ideas are the same here. So we went from product identity to vital info. So item type name. Okay. So this is like a customer facing word. What is this thing? So essentially I'm going to put in blue king sized bedding skirt. Okay. So it's just describing your guy here and everything like that. So just try to be as descriptive as possible. The customers can see this depending on category. So you don't want to, put in something random here, just something that ties to your product here. So model number is for you. I usually just put 1 depending on this. You can do blue king sized 1 or something like that if you'd like, and use that the model number, but it's mostly for your reference. Sometimes customers can see this, sometimes not. It's in the item description area with really technical products. Again, stuff doesn't really matter too much. Just don't put anything embarrassing here, I guess. Model name here. So this is important. Again, if you have a model name for it. So, example to use here is MacBook Pro, depending on if, you have 5 different models or whatever it may be. I usually, again, just kind of put in blue, just describe my item, king sized, traditional, right? If this is a traditional, style of it, whatever it may be here. So manufacturer, if you're doing private label, will be yourself. So it'll be the unique Jimmy. So as a private label seller, I'm actually the manufacturer of that. If you have, you're selling Nike products, this is where you put that in there and everything like that. So since I am private label brand name, we'll go right here as manufacturer. I'm going to go ahead and go to offer now. So the first thing it's asking here is, what are you going to do with this product? You're going to ship it yourself, or are you going to have Amazon ship it? So I personally love FBA. So this is the difference between FBA and FBM. Okay. So if you've ever heard those terms, this is what's going on here. So Amazon's asking, are you going to send this into our warehouse here and we're going to ship it to the customers? Or are you going to go ahead and just list the product on Amazon and then you'll ship it to the customers when people buy it? So I do FBA here and go ahead and select that because I'm going to ship this into Amazon. They're going to do all the heavy lifting for me. And when you're selling, hundreds and thousands of units, which is the whole goal here, and it's really where, really the money comes in, we want to go ahead and have FBA handle all that big lifting for us. And plus having an FBA really helps out with rankings and being that prime, getting that prime badge, everything like that. So next we're going to go product details. And this is kind of where we're getting into the nitty gritty here. So stuff that's probably a little bit confusing if you've never seen this before. But I'm going to explain everything for you. So product description. So this is your product description. So if I pull up an Amazon listing here, we see 2 things really. So this is bullets. So I'm going to show you where that's at in the back end. And then if I go down, this is product description. Okay. So you can be a lot more, they just have a paragraph here, but you can put spacing in here. You can put bullets, bold some words, everything like that. So if we go back, product description is this right here. Okay. So at first it really doesn't matter. You're going to go back and learn how to write a listing properly. But this is where I just put something in right now. So it'd be the unique Jimmy king sized bed skirting. And again, you're going to want to change this later. You're not going to want to leave this here. And then bullet points are, we go back up. These are the bullet points. Okay. So we can see, if we go back, we can add more. We can have up to 5 of these usually. Sometimes you can have more. This just lets you keep adding them. I doubt it's going to let you display all these, but there's going to be at least 5 for you. Some categories have 5 to 6, maybe even up to 7. But here, again, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this and paste this in here for now, because I'm going to write my listing later. This is just to get it up and running, everything like that. And it would be like a whole nother 2-hour tutorial to teach you how to write a listing. Again, if you go to my channel, I have a lot more videos on everything when it requires that. But for this sake, I just want to get you listed. That way you can get your FN SKU, which is your Amazon barcode. So you can give it to your manufacturer. You can make shipping plans then, and you can go ahead and get your manufacturer or shipping freight forwarder, the address of the fulfillment center you want to send to, and you're all up and running essentially, right? And then we can worry about this stuff later. Next, this is generic keywords. So this is like your back end keywords for SEO. Okay, so this is important to do research for. I use Helium 10 for this. So if we go to Helium 10, we can go down to magnet here, so keyword research, and then we could type in king size bed skirt, and then we can get the top keywords that are related to this here. So once it's loading, you could scroll down. There's some criteria here you can fit if you'd like. I search by search volume, right? Because I want the highest number of searches per month. So this is what it's saying right here. So, bed skirt, 27,000 people on Amazon search this per month. And so I can start grabbing these keywords. So bed skirt here. So I can copy this, go back here, paste, everything like that. And obviously you can make a lot bigger of a list, but essentially you're just going down that list. You want king sized in there. You want mattress in there. Essentially, it's just keywords and SEO. That way, Amazon knows where to put your product when people search it on Amazon. Obviously, do a lot more detailed searches through Helium 10. That way, finding your best keywords. And then you can always change this later. So say you start doing advertising, people start buying your product with certain keywords. Then you can go ahead and replace those a little later if you want to be more precise. But we see you got a nice little start here, and we could always go back and add more. I'm gonna add skirt and skirting in here as well, just because they're low-hanging fruit. And then if you want Helium 10, I got a discount code down below if you want to learn how to use that. And then I have so many videos, guys, talking about everything like that. So we have a cotton one skirting here. So fabric type is cotton, material is cotton, a number of items. So this is if you say you have you say you're selling mason jars, right? So you can have a 6-pack of mason jars. This is where you indicate that. For this, it's just one piece of bed skirting per package here. So if you have a 6-pack, this is where that goes. A size for this is going to be king size, like I said. A part number, you can just put anything you want here. So 1, this is just for your records, everything like that. We have drop length. So I'm not going to put this because to me, it's, again, I'm not too worried about this. Care instructions, if you have something important here. So, hand wash only, machine washed. Ours will be machine washable because we make it easy for the customer, right? We make it easy. A pattern here, this will be fully colored. So solid down here, we see, again, depending on your category, you're going to have different options here. Thread count, we're 1800 because we have a premium product. We're high class. We put the best stuff out there. Height base to top here. So for this, we could see provide the height of the item from the top of the bed to the lowest vertical point when placed in the manner in which it's expected to be used. So for this, I believe it's mentioning that it wants to know how the depth. If it's laying on a bed, what's the depth? So I'm going to say about 12 inches. That way you can tuck it onto the bed here. Again, if you have a product, you're going to know the dimensions here. Length, longer horizontal edge. So I actually just looked up some king size skirt dimensions. So wide, it's 78 inches wide, 80 inches long for king size skirting here. So I believe this is horizontal. So this was 80, I believe it said the width, right? You got 80 long. No, okay, sorry. This is 78 and this is in inches and this is 80 and this is in inches as well. Okay, so we filled this guy out. That looks great. Let's go to variations now, which is where it can get a little dicey if you don't know what you're doing. And I'm glad I'm going to go over it for you. That way you know what's going on. But we see, since we hit the variation and the product identity first right here, we are going to have this option here. So this essentially popped up because of that. And then it's going to ask us to choose our variation type. We did color, right? And then we can add different colors here. So we have a blue one right here. We're going to go ahead and add. Okay. And then what it's going to do is essentially it's going to have all the variations underneath here. So essentially it just becomes more important, or it just moves everything, all your products under this little category right here. Okay. So I like to open up both of these. That way, first I want to talk to you about all of these right here. And it just gives you the most options. That way I'm being as detailed as possible. Okay. So if you had multiple here, so red, yellow, this is where you're going to add those, okay? And you're going to need a UPC code, which we haven't talked about yet because we were about to. You're going to need them right here. If you didn't do a variation, you need your UPC code right here. So if you're confused, that's why. But since we did variations, everything goes right here. But obviously we're not going to do blue or yellow here. So we're going to delete selected, and those are going to get, canceled out here. But this opens up the field so you can add variations later, which we want the option to. So contribution SKUs. So this is a SKU name personally for you. So I'm going to put blue king sized here, and I'm gonna put solid because it's a solid pattern type. External product ID. So this is the UPC. So you have the ASIN, EAN, G10, MinSan, which actually that's new. I don't know what that is. UPC. Okay. So G10 and UPC are the ones you're gonna be using the most of. ASIN, if you're listing underneath someone else's product, the product already exists. This is what you're going to use. EAN, I believe, is for books. But depending on what you need, what you have, we're gonna go ahead and hit UPC here, and then offering condition type, we're gonna hit new because we're selling a brand new product. Price, our price is $49.99 because it's premium. Quantity, you're gonna want to put 0 here because if it somehow gets left on FBM, so fulfilled by merchant, meaning you're shipping it out, then it's going to make your product go live, and you actually could sell product before you even start, which you don't want to go through that right away. So put 0 here. Condition note, you don't need that unless you're selling like used books or anything like that. So you can put a sales price here, which is a whole nother topic. I usually do put sales prices. So say you wanted to sell the product for $50. So what I would do here, if you're interested in like doing the sale price, you put $74.99 here, and then put $49.99 here. Okay, so put your real price here and put like a high MSRP. So standard merchandise. I'm getting that wrong. Manufacturer suggested retail price is MSRP. So put that right here, and then sale price. Sometimes, if you're lucky, this category to category, I can't figure out the dynamics to this, but sometimes you get a slash price. So on your Amazon listing, it could say $74.99, then it's slashed out, and it's a sale price for $49.99 here, which is good to kind of, make it appear like you're having a sale and have a higher conversion rate. And then if you're doing sale price, just put the first date here. And then I like to go out as far as I can, which is a little hard with the way this desktop's set up. So I'm just gonna go 24th. But what I do is I go all the way like 2 years in advance, or however long it takes me to do this. So maybe I can put 4 here. Can I do that? There we go. I'll put 4 here. So now it's 2 years in advance. Just know after 2 years expire, if you're selling a lot, this is going to go back to $74.99. So just don't be shocked when that happens accidentally after you start selling for 2 years. So we see we're all set up here. Now we just need the external product ID. Okay, so the UPC. So we go up here. The UPC company I recommend is GS1 US. If you're in UK or whatever, there's GS1 UK. To get it, just depending what country you're in, doesn't really matter because it's all the same database, and you can use each one for every marketplace on Amazon. But this used to be $250 for a pack of 10, and there's an annual renewal fee, which is about $100 per month. That's still expensive, right? When your first product, maybe you're just testing stuff out, to have $350 worth of expenses the first year. That's a lot. Luckily, they put in this GS1 $30 each, so you can get an individual barcode for just $30. I suggest doing this at first, unless you have variations right away. Then you need to do this, okay? So I don't recommend nationwide barcodes, any of those recycled barcodes, because Amazon actually pulls from the GS1 database. So this is when Amazon, if your barcode doesn't line up with your brand name, it's because you're using a recycled barcode, most likely, that's attached to a different brand name. So this is like the king of barcodes. And if you want to avoid issues in the future, I recommend doing that. For the sake of the example, I just got like a cheap one right quick, just so I can go ahead and just move forward with this video, and go ahead and just copy paste that there. So my UPC is right here. If you go through GS1, just a note, they'll give you a G10 and a UPC. Okay, doesn't matter which one you use. I just do UPC to keep it clean. There's no really big difference between them, and it's really not a big deal anyways. Okay, if you want to know the difference between them. Next, let's go to safety and compliance. So we're moving on here. So variations are all taken care of. We're good here. So this is one of the more important parts. Safety and compliance, okay? So it's going to ask where we got this from. I'm going to say United States for example, but a lot of you are going to probably say China, or India would be a good place as well. Are batteries required? Hit no. So if you need, your product needs batteries, go ahead and put that there. Anytime you're confused too, you can go ahead and just read this. But a lot of them are just straightforward, right? So dangerous goods regulations. So for our product, so it's not applicable here. You can also add more if there's more that needs to go through it. You're going to know if your product fits in this category. If you have transportation hazards, it's a waste product, everything like that. So let's remove last here, a product compliance certificate. So this is with the California, they have a lot more rules. So actually with the skirting, I do believe we'd probably need this. So that way it's flame retardant. And when it's flame retardant, then we have a certain chemical in there. So it's not essentially, so it can't just burst into flames, right? Or it's like really hard to catch on fire, this stuff. So it's actually used as a chemical, and in California has a they warn people when this is on there because it's actually a little bit toxic to humans. But that's just again, that's going deeper into a rabbit hole. But you know, if you have this, you're going to know, and you can always look it up between the California rules there. If you look into the Air Review Board here, material fabric regulations. So I don't have any bamboo for wool, so I'm putting it non-applicable. And then mandatory cautionary statement. So if you're like a plastic bag, there's marbles in it, small parts, like a choking hazard, make sure you put this, is really important. So for me, this is not applicable. So I'm gonna put no warning applicable. Obviously you can add more right here. So we just cleared that guy out. Next, images. So you actually don't have to put images at first, but this is where you're gonna do that. And of course you could always go back and edit these later. Next is shipping. Okay, so this part is actually pretty important. So I'm gonna walk you through this, and this is where actually there could be a pretty big mistake here, which I'll tell you about here in a second. But if you're still waiting to talk about the brand registry, brand approval, and everything like that, don't worry, that's coming here at the end when it's actually gonna prompt us to do that. So you're gonna see a full kind of walkthrough of how that works as well. But moving on here to item package dimensions, okay? So this is very important to know. This is for a single item, okay? So if you have like a little box that has your product in it, this is where you're gonna measure that box. So your supplier is gonna have a master carton size for you, which is gonna fit, say, 50 units in it, and they're gonna ship it on over, everything like that. This is not what that's talking about, okay? So we wanna take a single item. What are the measurements for that, okay? This is important because if you put the master carton size in there, which is gonna be so heavy, like 30 pounds, it's gonna have 50 units in it, the dimensions are gonna be huge, you're gonna see this astronomical FBA fee, okay? So the fee that Amazon charges you to ship the product is based off the size of the product and the weight of the product, okay? So if they think you're gonna ship a big box like this, that's huge and 30 pounds, the fees are gonna be like $60, $80 a unit to ship it out. I see this all the time. People accidentally put that measurement in there. No, you wanna put the unit size, okay? That way Amazon knows what's going on there, all right? So we wanna put our single item dimensions in here, again, with the astronomical fees from Amazon FBA, but don't worry if you mess that up because Amazon will actually scan your product and measure it because they wanna make sure they're charging you the correct amount. So item package length here, so it's gonna be, I'm imagining king skirting is about 12 inches by 12 inches by about 5 inches here. So let's go 12. So for package width, 5 inches, and you get these things from your manufacturer, right? If you don't have your product already, just, you know, get an estimate. And again, if they're a little off, doesn't matter, because once you send them in, Amazon will do a scan of them and everything like that. Package weight's about 1.5 pounds. We'll put pounds here, number of boxes. So this is if you have, like, you know, say there's like 6 boxes to one unit of your product, that's where you put multiple in here. We just have one box right here. Okay. And then once we're all done with this, this is where it gets a little gnarly. Okay. So once I click off this, just hang tight with me because, you know, this is where it gets everything. So you click off that, this little knob's going to circle over here, which is behind. So if I move my face here, we can see that the save and finish button over here, this actually did a little loop-de-loop. So that's what you're going to see when you're done filling out all the red forms. And then this pops up right here. So error 5665, request approval for the unique Jimmy. The brand name you have entered has not approved by Amazon. Request approval here for unique Jimmy, and Amazon will review it. Once approved, you'll be able to use this brand name in your product listing. Okay, guys, so this is where it gets into that brand approval, brand register, trademarking thing. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly explain that and then show you how to go through these forms and what to do depending on your situation. First, I wanna talk about the difference between brand approval and brand registry just real quick here. I'm not gonna go into detail because I have other videos on my channel going much deeper in this, but brand approval is when you just get permission. So that error 5665 code we just saw is when we get permission from Amazon to list a brand name without a trademark. So Amazon's just saying, yes, you can use this brand name. You don't have to list generically, and you don't need a trademark right now to do so. So that's what brand approval is. Brand registry, on the other hand, is when you have a trademark and you go through the brand registry process, which again, I'll show you quickly the form there and show you the difference between the two. But brand registry, like I said, requires a trademark, but that also unlocks A+ content, video ads, and a whole bunch of other things on Amazon's platform. Again, I have a whole video going through that whole topic. If you just after this video, or I'll have it pop up here at the end. It says, you know, Cameron James, brand registry, Amazon FBA, going through there. So coming back here, it actually disappeared on me. So actually, if you just go ahead, if say it disappears on you, go to vital info, just change one of these fields and it'll repopulate for you. So just, you know, I'm gonna put something here like traditional, and then I'm gonna click off of it. Then it's gonna reload down here. and then this will pop up again. So if we want to request approval for Unique Jimmy, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need here. So you can put your brand website in here. I'll say Shopify or whatever it may be. You put your category in here. So for us, it was home and kitchen, and then bedding, and then it was bed skirts. If you have multiple places where this fits in, go ahead and put those in right here. And then Amazon's going to want at least one image of your brand, Unique Jimmy's product, or packaging. So essentially what it wants, just going through each one of these, match the name Unique Jimmy exactly. Okay, so what it wants is a picture right here of your product with that brand name on it. So it could be packaging or a product. Okay, so just photos with your iPhone, doesn't have to be legit camera photos or what you're gonna put on your Amazon listing, anything like that. So this could be done with your manufacturer, could be done with a sample. All it has to say is the Unique Jimmy. So think about if I'm trying to sell a Pepsi or something like that on Amazon, I would just take a picture of the Pepsi can because it has the Pepsi logo and the Pepsi brand name, and then they would go ahead and brand approve that. Next, it cannot be computer generated or digitally added to the image. Just means no Photoshop, guys. They'll know, they'll see the metadata, and they'll just go ahead and cancel it and reject you, even if you didn't mess with it per se, but cropped it or something like that. Just don't mess with the original photo at all. And it must be permanently affixed to product or packaging. So meaning it can't just be a sticker or a label that's put on the product or anything like that. It needs to be like printed or embroidered on there. Tags are in a weird gray area. If you have a shirt or something like that and it's a tag, that's where most of the time what I hear is they don't take those. So something to think about right there. And then make sure it's not infringing on anybody's brand, but of course you're gonna pick a brand name that doesn't do that, of course. Then you go ahead and drop your files here, and then put your email and your phone number here, put additional comments if you like. What happens here is that you'll submit it, it'll make a case. Amazon will get back to you within like 2 to 7 days, depending on how backed up they are. Then they'll go ahead and say, either you have approval to list under that name, then you go back to that listing, what we're just looking at right there. It will save a draft for you, so don't worry, it's not gonna delete everything. It literally will save a draft for you. You go back to it, and then you can go ahead and submit it, finish it up, and then go ahead and get your FN SKU, which is the Amazon barcode, not the UPC, but Amazon, once you list a product on Amazon, they'll go ahead and spit out another barcode, which is called the FN SKU. It's Amazon's version. That's what goes on the product when you send products into Amazon. That's how they know, who the seller is and what the product is, okay? Then also after that, you can make a shipping plan. So when you make the shipping plan with your product and everything's live, then you can go ahead and get an address for a fulfillment center they want you to send it to. Then you can relay that to your freight forwarder or your manufacturer, whoever's shipping your product, and that way you can get good to go there. Don't worry, your product listing won't go live until you actually get inventory in, okay? So this is just like, think of it as like a skeleton listing for your product, just to get everything in, right? So it probably won't go live for a month or two until that product comes into inventory. Or if you already have your product, you can just go ahead and send that in. With the shipping plan, you'll have now be able to do and go ahead and be live there. Now let me talk about brand registry real quick. So if you have a trademark and you want to get this going here, I'm going to show you this way. So hit need help here. So say brand approval didn't pop up here. This is another way to actually do it. So type in error code 5665 here, hit enter. And then it's going to ask you, fix issues adding a product here. So receive an error code or a message, hit next. And then fix issues adding a product, error code, hit next. It was 5665, so hit the first one here, hit next. And then we can see right here, it's asking you to pretty much recreate that pop-up we saw it over here. But if you can't get that pop-up to go up here, create a case and go through the same thing. Tell them error code 5665, give them everything they need, everything like that. So I want to show you that real quick. If we go back to the application here, it actually prompts you. You can do this, from your homepage and the Seller Central, everything like that here. So we hit, are you brand registered here? So if you have a trademark, you can get brand registered. So click this, and then you go get started with brand registry and go through that application process yourself. Again, I got another, longer video talking about brand registry. So if you just go to YouTube, Cameron James brand registry, that will take you through that. Okay, guys. So that's how you do that. Those are the little nitty gritty details. Again, I know it's a lot. And I know every category is going to look a little different depending on what niche you're in. That's part of the process, but I hope this really helped. Hope it kind of opened your eyes of what you need, what the fields need, everything like that. If this was helpful, make sure you subscribe down below. Or if you want to stay up to date, because I'm going to be talking a lot more in the future about UPC codes, brand approval, brand registry, GS1, everything like that, trademarks, everything like that. So if you want to keep up to date, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little notifications bell. That way you know when it's coming. Otherwise, guys, leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you got any questions or just want to say, what's up, dude? Go ahead and do that. Otherwise, guys, hope it was helpful. See you in the next one. Bye.